So when you're on the AP test, use the calculator program every single time, unless, of course, the question is specifically about the formula. Like sometimes they'll say in the multiple choice, which one of these formulas is correct? And you have to like go through and figure out which one is correct, that kind of thing. But besides that, if you have a choice, use the calculator the way we wanted to. Going back to the p-value, there you go, Mason. Going back to the p-value, so the p-value has to be done through your calculator since the chart we have does not tell you any areas, which is 0.0291. And if the p-value is less than alpha, you reject the null. So if p is less than alpha, you reject the null. And in this case, it was 0.029 is less than 0.05. You got here at 8:30?
Yeah, I had to run around.
To do what?
I left my mom's coffee in the car, so I had to go back out and get it. And then I had to give it to her and push it.
Okay. So anyway, to reject the null and accept the claim. Okay, let's do the second one. Do you want to do this one by hand, or do you want to use this one by calculator and just use the calculator immediately? Do you want to try the calculator for this one? All right, let's do it. Calculator. Result of state test scores. For this one, they're comparing two teachers. Got teacher 1 and teacher 2. And you got X bar 1, S1, N1, X bar 2, S2, N2. Teacher 1 has a mean of 473 with a standard deviation of 39.7 and a sample size of 8. Teacher 2 has a mean of 459 with a standard deviation of 24.5 and N of 18. All right, so can you conclude that there is a difference in the scores for the two teachers? A reason why they might want to do this is it looks like they're comparing the state mathematics test scores. Looks like teacher 1 has a higher success rate, but is it so high that can be proven to be actually, just because of this sample, can it overall be proven to be bigger than this? We'll find out. So it says that the population variances are not equal, which means on the front side, if you were doing this by hand, you'd be using all the stuff in that orange category on the bottom for me, okay? Which is the not so difficult formula. So, H sub O, H sub A. It says that there is a difference, is their claim. So mu sub 1 is not equal to mu sub 2, that's their claim. Mu sub 1 is equal to mu sub 2 is the null. Okay, so right now we're going to go stat, tests, 2 sample t-test. Do you guys want to do this one by p-values instead of rejection regions? Should we do that? Okay. All right, I'm making like a little picture here. It's a little bell curve, and I know that this is a 2-tailed test, which means each tail is what? 5%, but I can still just write next to it alpha is 0.10 because that's what I'm going to compare P to. 2 sample t-test. All right, I'm going to start putting in my stats. X bar 1 is 473. I'm just going to let you guys type it without talking over you. You should be picking a two-tailed test this time, which is not equal to. Pooled, yes or no? No, because the variances are not equal. And then you're gonna click draw, or at least I prefer draw. You could just hit calculate and just have the numbers, but I like having the draw feature.
What's pool?
Pooled is when the variances are equal or not. So you'll have to catch up on the first half of the notes to see that. So do you see how the question says that the population variances are not equal? So if it said that they were equal, you'd say yes to pooled. And if they're not, you say no. Okay, so that gives you a t-score of 0.92 if you're going to do it that way, and a p-value of 0.379. Almost 38%. So on this case, you got P and alpha. P is about 379, and alpha is 0.1. So obviously, P is greater than alpha. So what does that mean? Accept the null. And in this case, reject the claim. So we are rejecting the claim that the teacher's scores are actually different at all. Like, sure, their scores are literally different, but this is just a sample, not a population, right? And they're close enough that we cannot conclusively decide that they would be different. Okay. What kind of, I'm going to start really letting you boss me around now, okay? What do you want to do for homework? How many problems do you want to do? Notice I didn't write an assignment on the bottom. You guys are getting grown up enough now that I'm trusting you to tell me what you actually need, not what you want. Do you want 2 of each? Do you want 1 of each? Do you want to do 1 by hand of each and 1 by calculator of each? Do you want to not do them by hand and just do them by calculator? Again, we're not going for what's easy. We're going for what you think you need for the AP test.
So, when you're talking about what type of question we'll get if it...
I mean, population variances are equal or population variances aren't equal. So pooled yes or pooled no. Like, I think you should at least do 1 of each of those.
Yeah, like on the AP test.
Yep.
Like you were saying, the only time we'd have to really work with the
Formula.
formula is like...
So there might be like a multiple choice question where they'll be like, which formula would you use to solve this problem? And they'll have like 5 or 4 written out formulas, and you have to like distinguish which one is correct. If it came down to like a free response question and you were doing it that way, showing your work would include you saying, here's my H sub O, here's my H sub A, here's my null, here's my rejection region. And instead of having this big thing right here, or you could even type it out and then still just use your calculator to do it that way instead of having to type it in. Or you could just say stat, test, pooled, yes, like write down on your sheet what you used on your calculator, because you're allowed to use a calculator. So you basically just say how you use the tool that you're using instead of writing out the work. Does that answer your question?
Yep.
So do you want 1 of each? Do you want 2 of each? Okay. All right, let's do 2 of each. Why don't you guys try doing 1 with a calculator, 1 with a formula? And then I'm going to let you guys choose whether you choose to do rejection regions or p-values. Okay?
Does it really matter? Like whatever one you choose?
No, for rejection regions or p-values. It does not matter, but the AP test, there will be questions where they'll be like, you're doing this test and your p-value is 0.08. And your alpha was 0.03. Should you accept or reject? So like, I just don't want you to get out of practice with like me. And I'm guessing you guys are the same way. Do you guys prefer rejection regions? Because I do. I like being able to visually see it like that. But they will often use p-values on the AP test. So if you're not as comfortable with that, then I would try a couple like that, just so you're reminding yourself how that works. Okay. Okay. So